It really bothers me what's going on. What do you think about all the government bailouts?
Well, if you get me on my soapbox, I'm going to go there, and you've just got me on it.
Go.
So I'm going to go there. I think, well, first of all, they're terrible. And I'll tell you why they're terrible, is that when our public, when the United States citizen is told things like, well, that company is too big to fail, they should just scream. They should sit up and say, no, that's not the way our system works. Our system is designed so that inefficient systems fail, so they can be replaced by more efficient systems. We will never get more efficient systems. You look back, and I know you've heard this example before, but you know, when the horseless carriage came out, the greatest buggy maker in the world had two choices: either find another business or get a government bailout.
Yeah.
And we decided not to bail out the buggy makers.
Mm-hmm.
He had to fold the buggy making business, so he formed this company called General Motors, and he started making cars. You know, that's the way it's supposed to work. So then when General Motors fails, that's the way the system's supposed to work. It's supposed to fail so that we can say, hey, this didn't work. We've got to replace it with something more efficient. If you're not going to build higher efficiency cars at lower cost, then we'll replace you with somebody who will. That's how it's supposed to work. You don't step in and bail out inefficient systems.
Well, the thing that not to cut you off, the thing that I like, that I wish, and this is coming from a Democrat, there was a Republican senator, and it was right before the bailout money was given. He stated, excuse me, what is wrong with this picture? Ford in 6 months sold 200,000 cars. Toyota in the same 6 months sold exactly the same amount of cars. Ford showed a $160 million deficit. Toyota showed a $60 million gain. What's wrong with that picture? And I have to ask, what is wrong with that picture?
Well, and I tell you what's wrong with that picture is, well, nothing's wrong. That's the way the picture's supposed to look. The picture looks like that, and what happens is Ford either changes the way they do business or go out of business.
Exactly.
And Toyota stays in. You don't step up and say, okay, all of you out there in the country, whether you bought a Ford or not, you've got to pay for their failures. That's just not the way it's going to work. Let's take the banking industry. It's exactly the same. Our Fed chairman says, I'm going to do a stress test. I'm going to go out and test all the nation's largest banks, do a stress test, and see how much cash they need to survive. Well, actually, that's the job of the board of directors. That's the job of the owners of that bank, is to test the bank and make fiduciary decisions that are strong, that don't stress the bank. Think of the position they put themselves in. Let's say you as a city manager are put in the position, say, if you bankrupt Pahrump, you'll get money. But if you run it well, then you'll just plug along.
No, I'm going to spend money like going out of
Yeah, you're going to be incentivized to bankrupt, because I don't get any federal money if I don't stress it. How does that work within our system? Well, it doesn't. It's exactly contradictory to our system. So, yeah, where we're going worries me a lot.
Yeah. We benefit the failures, and we don't do anything for the people who are working hard and doing well.
Well, there's some real simple formulas. This just goes back to, like, you know, your college 101, even high school classes. If you promote mediocrity, you get just a little bit less than mediocrity. If you try and average everybody, everyone will do a little bit less than average. Averaging lowers the average. If you tell everybody in any organization they're all going to get paid exactly the same, whether they do well or do poorly, well, they're all going to do average at best. And if you don't create a system that allows someone to excel and allows you to eliminate those who aren't meeting standards, well, then you're never going to get any better. And here's what we've done. We basically said we want to average the United States. We want to average all corporations. We're going to eliminate greed, which is pretty funny because I recall reading about greed in the Bible several thousand years ago. It's human nature. You don't eliminate greed as long as humans are still breathing. And greed...
That's what we do. We go into the movie
Yeah.
about doing all robots running the world. Yeah, that's it. I think that was a movie.
There were several about that, but the reality is these principles. There's a difference between, okay, what will you do as governor? Well, the individual decisions that I will be faced with as governor have a lot to do with my principles and what I believe works as far as an American system. You can guesstimate a few of the things you're going to be faced with. Yeah. I'm going to be faced with legislation on DMV fees and details, but if you don't base it in some pretty strong beliefs, you don't stand a chance.